Hey, coach, what would you do in this situation? You're at a networking event, maybe some sort of professional gathering. Someone smiles or shakes your hand and asks you a simple social question. So, what do you do? And if you're like most people, you do one of three things: you panic, you ramble, or you say something that effectively kills the conversation before it even gets started. Ouch. I'm Ronnie Noyes with Smart Ideas for New Coaches. Today, I'm going to show you 5 common answers that make people lose interest immediately when you tell them what they do. More importantly, I'll show you how to answer that question in a way that opens the door to real conversation and real referrals or real interest. Because when people understand what you do, 3 good things can happen. They'll remember you, they know who to send your way for coaching, or they instantly recognize that you might be the answer to their prayers for help. And before we get into the 5 way too common answers that kill conversations at the very beginning, let me tell you something interesting. I didn't make up these bad answers. Over the years, I've asked hundreds of coaches a simple question: what do you say when someone asks you what you do? And most of the answers fall into the same 5 categories. Unfortunately, they're exactly the answers that make people tune out. Let's talk about why. But first, let's understand something important about that question. When somebody asks you, what do you do? They're not really asking for an explanation, a job description, or a sales pitch. They're trying to figure out where you fit in their mental map of the world. Are you someone they might need to know, or someone to whom they might refer a friend? Your part in this conversation isn't to explain everything about your work. It isn't to brag about your credentials. It certainly isn't to inflict a surprise sales pitch on anybody. Your job is to make it easy for them to understand you, to know where and how you fit into the world. So, with that in mind, let's talk about the answers that don't work. Wrong answer number 1: I'm a consultant. This one is very common. Someone asks what you do, and you say, for lack of anything better, I'm a consultant, or I'm a coach. That might be accurate, but here's the problem. Consultant in what? Technology, finance, marketing, organizational development, human resources. And what kind of coach? Consultant is such a broad category and doesn't help the listener understand anything about your work. And when people don't understand what you do, they can't remember you or refer others to you or recognize that they might actually need you. So the conversation usually stops right there. So, wrong answer. Wrong answer number 2: I work in the coaching business. Now, I hear this one a lot. I work in the coaching business. Okay, doing what? Football coaching, little league, executive coaching, life coaching? While you might imagine that such ambiguity creates curiosity and therefore creates an exciting on ramp to a conversation, it actually creates confusion. And confusion is the enemy of communication. It's not how we start conversations with people we just met. Because when people feel confused, very often that confusion makes them feel stupid. So they politely nod and change the subject. And because I believe in over delivering, here are 3 equally bad variations of this response that I've heard that are just as confusing. I work in the human potential business. I work in the transformation business. I work in the empowerment business. Nope, 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 nope. Come on, coach. You can do better. Wrong answer number 3. How much time do you have? Okay, this answer usually comes from a place of enthusiasm, and I love enthusiasm when it's shown in the right time, in the right place. And this is the wrong time and place because socially it sends the wrong signal. When someone asks you what you do, they're not asking for a presentation, they're making conversation. And when you respond with, how much time do you have? What people hear is, I'm about to talk your ear off about something you may have zero interest in. So the correct response on their part, the person who hears that answer, is to start looking for the nearest exit, and I don't blame them. Wrong answer, once again. Wrong answer number 4, dodging the question. Now, sometimes people try to avoid answering the question entirely, either because they haven't figured out a good answer yet, or they think they're being clever. Someone asks them, what do you do? And their response is, what do you do? Now it's just awkward because the other person didn't ask the question so they could be interrogated. They ask because they're being polite, making conversation, or trying to understand who you are, get a mental picture of how you fit into their world. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't return the question at some point. Absolutely, you should. Someone asks you a question, you answer briefly, then ask them the question. That's how social conversations work. Dodging the question like this introduces a weird element of friction in the conversation. More than just an uncomfortable dynamic, it can actually feel kind of confrontive and creepy. So again, wrong answer. Wrong answer, number 5. It's hard to explain. This one is especially damaging. If someone asks you what you do and you respond, it's hard to explain. The message people hear, the hidden meaning, whether you mean it or not, is either I'm not very clear about my business and I don't really know how to explain it simply, or worse, and fair warning, this is ugly, but it happens. I don't think you're a good prospect for me, so I'm not willing to waste my time giving you a polite answer because you're not going to buy what I'm selling anyway. And the saddest thing about the it's hard to explain answer is that very often one of these two hidden meanings is actually true. And that's not the impression you want to create as a professional coach. Ding, ding, ding. Another wrong answer. So what should you say instead? Should you wing it, make up something on the fly? That's also not the best strategy. Now, I recommend creating a short and clear answer in advance that you can use whenever you need to answer the question, what do you do? A good answer delivers just enough to open a conversation, but not so much that you overwhelm the other person. I'm talking about, of course, an elevator speech. The 5 to 13 word response that clarifies who you help and the result you help them achieve. For example, what do I do? As a marketing coach, I used to say, I help small businesses attract great clients that pay, stay, and refer. Now, you're not me, so your answer is obviously going to be different. Maybe it's something like, I help new managers lead with confidence. Or maybe it's, I help overwhelmed parents create calmer families. Or even, I help retiring executives transition into meaningful second careers. Simple, specific, easy to remember, super easy to understand. And when you answer the question that way, something interesting happens. People often say stuff like, oh, really? Or how does that work? Or even, well, that's interesting. Tell me more. And now you're having a real conversation with their full permission and participation. You're not talking at the person, you're actually communicating. You're talking with the person. So let's recap the 5 answers to the what do you do question. Kill conversations before they even get started. 1. I'm a consultant. 2. I work in the coaching business. 3. How much time do you have? 4. Dodging the question by asking, and what do you do? And the worst one, number 5, it's hard to explain. Instead of using one of these lame answers, aim for a clear, simple answer that helps people quickly understand who you help and what result you help them achieve. Because when people understand what you do, they can remember you and refer others to you. And in the coaching profession, that's where many of our best clients can come from. Personally, I got tons of referrals from people I only met once at a networking meeting because they remembered what I did well enough to send people my way. Now I'm curious. Which of these answers have you used before? No judgment. I've heard every one of them from experienced coaches at some point, and I may have even used them myself once or twice. Let me know. Drop it in the comments. And if you already have an elevator speech that you like, please share it. I'd love to see how you describe your work. If you'd like more smart ideas for new coaches, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, Coach. I'm Ronnie Noyes, reminding you that today is a great day to be a coach.